Hello and welcome everyone to a brand new episode of Get Hired India. I'm your host Deepthi Jain and I'm an editor with LinkedIn News. And I have for you a very exciting live discussion in store today. Of all the innumerable, probably uncountable aspects of life that COVID-19 impacted for all of us, I think there was one area which was more impacted in terms of visibility and in terms of the fact that it affected each and every one of us. That was stepping out to eat or going to restaurants. I'm speaking to you right now from my home in Bengaluru's Indiranagar area, and from my somewhat infrequent trips outside the house, I can tell you that several restaurants that I've seen are packed with people, irrespective of the time of the day. Is this the same in your area, in your city? Are you yourself stepping out to eat right now? Share with us in the comments where from you belong and how comfortable you are to step out to eat right now. But coming back to the point, does this indicate that there is a revival in consumer sentiment? Are people slowly shedding their inhibitions and apprehensions about stepping out, given that the number of cases seem to be coming down, there is a momentum in vaccination program, etc. After the initial predicament in early 2020, several restaurant chains, QSRs, hotels, etc., then it took several measures to pump up their sales to beat this downturn by way of deliveries or drive-throughs or convenience formats for that matter. But were these specifically located in certain regions? Is the pickup being seen in certain regions, especially? That is yet to be seen. But on the other hand, people are also locked up in their homes. It's almost been a year now. People miss socializing, they miss the hustle and bustle of office. They want to get back into the normal world. And perhaps that is why reports are showing that the industry is slowly but surely crawling back to normal. Another very important aspect that we'll get to in the course of this interview is about employment in this sector. As we all know, that the restaurant industry is actually one of the most labor intensive industries in India. In fact, there were reports recently that as many as 7.3 million jobs could have been on the line because of the lockdown that battered this sector. Is that also changing? To talk to us about all of this and more, we have with us a very special guest, Ms. Smita Jatia. She is the MD of Hardcastle Restaurants, McDonald's India South and West. And she's been actually in the industry for more than 2 decades now, with her career spanning across roles in HR, operations, strategy, before finally, getting the helms as the MD. Smita, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Dipti. Thank you for having me here, and really excited to be on the show and hopefully value add to all the listeners on the show.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm sure it's going to be a completely packed, interesting session, Smita. Just kicking off, I'll straight get to it. Like I just mentioned, over the last couple of months, especially, we're seeing that there is a change in the mood of the consumer sentiment. People are slowly getting more comfortable in getting out of their houses to eat, to go to restaurants. When was the last time that you stepped out for a meal?
Quite often, I think from the time McDonald's has revived and we've opened our doors to customers, I have been visiting my restaurants not only in Mumbai but also in the other parts of the country. And at the same time, obviously, going to other restaurants, whether they are five stars or even standalone restaurants. Definitely, my visits to roadside vendors and unorganized players have definitely reduced, because you don't know what hygiene and quality would be in these areas. So eating out definitely, as you rightly said, has come back. And it'll be very interesting to see how the structural changes are going to happen. And I'm very, very confident that though there was a dip in the visits of eating out, as you rightly said, they were basically because of the fear which the pandemic got us in March and April, and it was everyone. The pandemic has touched every sector, every country, and I think it was the fear which did not let people go out, and it was the first time in history, at least of our living history, that we were facing something like this. So there was no playbook. So as human nature, we all went back into our shell. And as things started to open up, and as the whole credibility of players or restaurants started to build up when it came to hygiene, when it came to cleanliness, when it came to quality. People did start venturing out. And again, as you rightly said, with the whole vaccination drive where India has done well, I think the confidence of people to step out is increasing much more.
Sure, Smita. So, is this particularly noticeable in certain pockets or certain regions, you'd say right now, or is it across the country in metros or small towns, everywhere that you are seeing this trend?
I think it's pretty much everywhere. In fact, in our business, we saw small towns come back much faster. And mainly, I feel because it could be because of the density of population, infection rates being much lower in small towns. However, the cities were also quite quick to follow, especially in cities where regulatory restrictions didn't go on and off. What I mean by that is that once a city was open for about 6 to 8 weeks and it remained open without curfews coming in, we saw that there was a pickup of demand month on month by at least 10 to 15%. And at least in Maharashtra, where we are headquartered, things started to improve from October because that's when dine-in started. And again, the pickup of dine-in was much faster than what the pickup of deliveries was when we started in April, straight after COVID. So in April, the pickup of delivery did take some time because people were still scared, people were still fearful whether is outside food safe, whether will the infection or bacteria come into the outside food. But as people's confidence started to build in and myths started to get bust, definitely we were able to ensure that the dine-in recovery was much, much faster and incremental to what MDS was giving us or any other convenience channel like drive-thrus or on-the-go pickup.
Sure. Interesting point you mentioned, Smita, about dine-in seeing a faster recovery. I think this would be a pretty counterintuitive to what most of us would believe right now. I'll come back to that point quickly. For the members who are just joining us right now, we are speaking with Ms. Smita Jatia, the MD of Hardcastle Restaurants, McDonald's India South and West, and we're talking about both business and employment in the restaurant industry and the outlook for 2021. Smita, just it's something you spoke right now. You're headquartered out of Maharashtra, and right now, places like Maharashtra, even Bangalore for that matter, we're seeing there's spike in certain pockets in these states and cities, and there is talks of reimposition of restrictions. How much does that really worry you?
I think reimposition of restrictions today, everyone, including us, we are much more geared up to face these restrictions, and we have our playbook in place that even if there is a lockdown, there are other convenience channels by which we can get food to our customers. I think people are not going to get scared of eating out or calling in for delivery now at this point because obviously, as I said, myths have been busted. So even if there are some new regulatory curfews which do come in, we are very confident that the visits will continue to pick up or at least stabilize if not pick up. They could be through different channels of on-the-go pickup. They could be MDS, and obviously during curfew, MDS will work the best. So each one of us in the restaurant industry have our playbooks already in terms of facing a new challenge which can come up. And as I mentioned to you again, dine-in did see pickup after October because at the end of it, people are fed up of being in their homes, right? And they are, and I'm sure even in Bangalore or even in Maharashtra, even today when you go on the roads, you don't see that there is something called COVID still existent because people are going back into their normal modes of life. Yes, people have to be more cautious. People have to understand what safety and what hygiene and wearing a mask means. But at the end of it, I just feel that people are going to go out, people are going to eat out, and people are going to order in. I think the new thing which has happened through the whole pandemic is new habits have been built, whether it is to order in, whether it is to use our drive-throughs, and more importantly, our new innovative channel which we built during the COVID times is on the go pickup. So you can order on our app while you are on the go, and you can pick up your food without going into the restaurant. The minute you come close to the restaurant, and that's how technology has enabled it, the person will come and deliver the food to you in your car. So these are different channels, and I always say necessity is the mother of invention. And whether it is contactless delivery, whether it is on the go, these were all things which we were able to pivot when there was a complete shutdown. And now, as we go forward, I'm sure there'll be times when there could be partial shutdowns, but we are much geared and in a much better position to handle the situation.
Sure. Like you mentioned, initially there was yeah. So initially there was a lot of course, chaos that was created, and of course, people also were not confident about stepping out right now. But would you say that after 2020, now that there is all this news about business restrictions lifting and people going out, would you say that the worst for the industry is behind you now? And what would you say were some of the biggest learnings that came out of this period of crisis, which otherwise would not have been the case really?
Absolutely. At least as again I mentioned, I think the worst is definitely over. And for me, letting a crisis go to waste would be the worst thing to do. You should always take advantage of a crisis to become bigger, better, and bolder. And for us as a leadership team and as us as a company, that was one of our resolves we took when the COVID or the pandemic hit us. We never knew where we are going to land ourselves. We did not know how long this crisis is going to last. But all we knew is that when we get out of it, we are going to be bigger, better, and bolder. And now, when I look back and look at some of the learnings which has again made us stronger, the first one is definitely agility. I think it's clearly proved that brands which have not been able to be agile and who have not been able to innovate are the brands who have not been able to handle the crisis better and who have not been able to recover. So, agility is one of the biggest learnings, and this is something which we are building in our ecosystem. We are looking at all our processes, we are looking at all ways of working in our system, we are looking at goal setting to make people more accountable by themselves to be agile. So, if there is a barrier which suddenly comes up out of nowhere, one should be able to solve that barrier and to move forward in a productive way. My second learning out here would be that necessity is the mother of invention. Very clearly, companies or brands or businesses which were not able to invent and reinvent themselves. So, delivery, right? We had delivery, that was not an invention, but we did contactless delivery. We were one of the first to do contactless delivery. That built confidence, that built assurance with our customers. So this was innovation. Another unique innovation which we had, and we are really proud of it, we had zero layoffs during this period of our 10,000 McDonald's family. And we used this time to actually have e-modules at work at home situations. And we were able to train our crew and frontline staff as to how they would be able to adhere to stricter procedures and policies when they come into the restaurant. We had a 42 point checklist, which helped us deliver a much more hygienic, a much more credible, and a much more better experience to our customers. So that is how we innovated, and we were able to give the classes online to our 10,000 workforce to be able to come back bigger, better, and bolder when the restaurants open. So innovation is very, very key learning out of this pandemic. And I think the last one, if I have to say, would be, everyone, I think everyone in the industry, businesses have had to look at their cost structures, and everyone have had to rationalize their cost structures. But at the same time, everyone has had to do much more. So the learning out here is less is more, and you can do many things with lesser resources. It is about optimizing, working, prioritizing, and see when you what you get and where you get maximum bang for the buck. So to me, the three biggest learnings out of this pandemic would be how does the organization pivot on agility, on innovation, and last is to have a much leaner and a much cost-effective structure so that any time when there is adversity, you can always pivot and you can always ensure that you have a strong balance sheet.
Uh, we have several members who are logging in and sharing some amazing questions with us. Uh, there is Amit Saxena who is asking, what is the plan for expansion? What does the plan for expansion looks like this year? If I may just add to that, can you just take us through what's your overview and what's your outlook for not just McDonald's, but also the overall QSR industry for 2021?
Thank you, Amit, for the question. And to me, I think there is a huge and a big opportunity for the QSR segment. And a few of the reasons are exactly what I have already mentioned is that the roadside vendors are going to go a little out of business more in terms of because customers are going to be more conscious on hygiene, on cleanliness, on quality, and hence the eating out visits are not going to reduce, but there's going to be structural changes within the eating out industry. So QSR segment is going to get a share from roadside vendors. When it comes to fine dine restaurants, again, people are going to be conscious, value conscious, and they are going to use brands which give them value for money. And hence, QSR brands are again well poised to be able to take any trade-off what happens in the fine dine restaurants. And hence, to me, there is a huge opportunity for QSRs to be able to grow. I think it is all about navigating it. I think the potential for QSRs, even in our old narrative, we've always said that by FY22 we are going to get to 400 to 500 restaurants. 2020 has been a blip, and already we can see the green shoots, and we are already back to pretty much pre-COVID levels. There will be blips, as I said, on and off. But pretty much the confidence is there that discretionary spending is going to be there. Consumer confidence in eating out is already built in. And hence, we are going to get back on track with our growth trajectory of building 25 to 30 restaurants year on year.
Also, take us through, when the lockdown was first announced in early March last year, how soon did you resume operations and what kind of day-to-day changes in terms of your operations did you undertake? Also, there are people, the members on the live stream who are asking that, is the business really back to pre-COVID levels, or when do you see that coming back to pre-COVID levels really?
The business is back to pre-COVID levels. There are structural changes again, like I said, in the QSR structure business. There are structural changes in the same way. There are changes in what we are seeing where the business is coming from. So business from convenience channels, which are our drive-throughs, MDS business on the go, is picking up and growing much more faster, and it's actually more than what pre-COVID levels were. Dine-in would be around 80% back to pre-COVID levels, and this is not because of demand. This is more mainly because of the capacity constraints, which is still there. In certain states, it's still 33%. In certain states, it's 50%. And we are confident that the minute this capacity constraint goes off, we will be able to get back into our dine-in pre-COVID levels also. So if I look at the whole system, we are pretty much back to COVID levels, and we are pretty much now back to our growth trajectory. When COVID hit us in March, I mean, first, food services was not a part of essentials. I think the entire industry worked with the government and got ourselves into the food service, got ourselves into the essential services. When we did that, I think the first thing what we needed to do was to bust myths and to get confidence from consumers. And that's when we launched contactless delivery. What do you mean by contactless delivery? Means neither no hands touch your food other than your hands. So whether it's in the restaurants, whether it is the person who has delivered the food for you, everything is contactless and the food is absolutely safe for you to eat. More than that, what we also did was we got our digital marketing to get more active, because that's where the consumer was spending time. And that's where we started to launch our on the go service. By launching the on the go service, we practically made all our restaurants drive through restaurants. So when traffic started to move out a little bit, when restrictions from complete lockdown were lifted, and people started to go out also in the lockdown, for groceries or to the pharmacy, they could pick up food on the go. We had takeaway windows to start with, and after that, when the car service started, we were able to give it through on the go car service. So these were some of the real changes which we did to our business model, so that we could reach the customer where the customer was.
Right. Of course, Smita, I think it was also somewhere along expected lines that delivery and convenience formats would be something that would find more acceptance right now. But, eating out is all about experience. People want to step out, get away, and sit in a restaurant and eat that way. Do you think that convenience formats are just something that will be temporary, or is that a sustainable model? And in terms of what the business split is like between, say, dine-ins and takeaways or deliveries, do you think that's going to remain as is, or it will be back to what it was initially?
I can give you some global facts, which is more characteristics of the QSR business. So globally in the US, 70% of the business comes through drive-throughs, because QSRs are basically built on the lever of convenience. In India, when we started, and even now, eating out is made up of two occasions. One is celebrations, and when it is a special occasion, and the second part is a part of everyday life, whether there is a lunch on the go, or whether there is breakfast on the go, or whether there is a meal which is ordered at home for convenience. So very clearly, convenience is one of the foundation pillars of any QSR. I think in India it just took a little longer because it was still treated as an occasion. To me, COVID has accelerated the convenience lever for all QSRs to build further. And these are habits which I am quite confident are here to stay. So even as we see dine-in pick up, the good news is we are seeing no erosion in our convenience channels. So for us, it's incremental to when dine-in picks up. And if dine-in goes to 100%, and if our convenience channel goes to 150, we will actually be 150 more than what we were in the pre-COVID times. So very clearly, convenience channels are not going to have any trade-off effects on dine-in. And even when dine-in builds in, convenience channels are going to be here to stay.
Right, sure. Moving a little bit to the jobs aspect, like I mentioned initially, Smita, I know this is a very, very labor-intensive industry, always has been. How did the workforce for McDonald's really get affected because of the whole pandemic? And in 2021, after we saw all the job cards, the pay cards, etc., in this industry, do you think all of that will be back to normal anytime soon?
Yeah, so it was a very, very trying time, and when the pandemic started, we had three basic principles on which we kind of pivoted our entire survival. The first one was to take care of your employees. The second one was to build assurance with our customers. And the third one was to conserve cash, because at that time we never knew how long the pandemic will last. And therefore, you needed oxygen cylinders to be able to sustain you for the period. Now, coming back to the first one, firstly, I would say I am extremely proud and grateful for the entire 10,000 McDonald's family, without which I don't think we would have come out bigger, better, and stronger out of the pandemic. Whether it was the frontline crew, whether it was the leadership team or the staff at office, which were all work from home. I think everybody was working relentlessly to ensure that the tasks they were given during the crisis were completed to the best of their ability, in spite of taking care of their families too. So this is something which I feel very proud to say that each and every member did their best to be able to see that we were able to serve our customers to the best possible way. Now, as I said, mentioned to you earlier also, good news is that we had zero layoffs. We used this time productively to train our frontline staff by work from home modules, and by which they were much better equipped when they came back to work. So there was absolutely no job cuts. Obviously, we did rationalization of certain costs, and payroll was a part of it. And month on month, as business started to come back, we were able to reinstate any of these rationalizations. And today we are back to normal when it comes to whether it is positions which we are hiring, whether it is restaurants we are opening. So, as I said, we are back in our growth trajectory. We are hiring critical positions, which we are now seeing are more critical as we pivot to growth, whether it's on customer analytics, whether it is on consumer tech, or whether it's on digital marketing. These are all positions which I'm sure the demand of these positions will become more because of all businesses trying to reinvent their or at least look at their business model in a different way. And secondly, as we keep opening our restaurants, we are going to continuously hire the way we have been able to. So our 10,000 family is only going to be green and growing moving forward.
So no job cuts at all. Can you just highlight for our members, Smita, just some of the broad roles or job functions that are particularly seeing higher demand in this industry right now?
I just feel for any consumer-facing businesses, and definitely for us, digitization is going to be a big pivot for growth moving forward. And here, technology is going to be a huge enabler to give a better customer experience to customers. It's also going to enable what we call the omni journey. That is to ensure that wherever the customer is, whether the customer is at home, whether the customer is in transit, whether the customer is in store, the customer gets the same seamless experience across all different channels. So I just feel digital is going to be a huge enabler to the business. Even when it comes to marketing, whether it is GPS to understand where the customer is to keep the food ready when they come to pick it up, or it is GIS systems by which we can do smart targeted marketing. So all these roles are going to be definitely more in demand, and businesses which are going to be able to attract the right talent and reset their business model to the new normal, I think are the businesses which are going to go forward from a growth perspective.
Right. We have a lot of interesting member comments, observations, and questions for you, Smita. I'll just read out one that Saurav Mitra has posted on the stream. It's about amidst all this creativity, innovation, and radical thinking, what do you think about the survival of professionals in the hospitality space in terms of finding new opportunities? And if I may just add to that, Smita, there have been reports that experts, industry players have been saying that the hospitality industry at large would not probably be back to pre-COVID normals up till the first quarter of 2023. What do you have to say to that? The number one, about the revival of the sector at large, and secondly about all those job seekers, especially maybe freshers or college graduates who are seeking for a job in this industry right now.
Yeah, so I agree that the hospitality industry is still going through a lot of stress, because tourism is not back, business travel is not back. So I see the hospitality and tourism sector revive the last, and I think that's going to be when vaccination is 100%, and people are going to again start having the confidence to move across borders. So definitely, that is an area which is a little bit, I feel it will recover. However, there'll be new norms. As I said, even for our sector, when we look at QSRs, there are new norms which have got defined. Convenience, digital. These are new norms by which you have to explore and explode these areas. So I'm quite sure that even for hospitality and tourism and the hotel business, definitely, there will be some new norms which are going to be set. There could be some new formats which could emerge. So that will obviously have to be understood by the experts in the sector. Difficult for me to comment. But again, as I said, QSR as a sector is already back to its pre-COVID levels, and this is going to definitely be here to stay because there's a structural change in the whole eating out visits which has happened. So this sector is definitely going to hire not only frontline staff but also roles at head office, and therefore professionals who are seeking jobs in this sector definitely have a way to go and definitely have an opportunity to get employed in these sectors. However, in the larger hospitality sector, it could take a little longer.
Very interesting question from a member, Manish Sharma. He's asking, do you see a pragmatic shift in consumption behavior, as in are consumers looking for healthier eating options? So we read a lot of reports like that about, at least in the initial months of the lockdown and when the pandemic really struck India, that people are moving to healthier options. Is that trend sustaining, Smita, or do you see it just, going back to what it was before?
Came on a lighter note, everybody became cooks, right? So people were wondering whether restaurants are going to ever come back. And obviously, that was something which you had to do at that point of time, not only from a need, but also, people were keeping themselves busy. People were becoming bakers, everybody had started a small industry starting from home itself. So definitely there were new trends which came up. When it comes to eating out, I think it's always a balance. I don't think there is only indulgence or only eating healthy. I think there is always a balance. And therefore, yes, people do eat healthy, and maybe the pandemic has made people realize a lot. Have had People have had a lot of time for reflection, and people have rewritten their personal goals, and maybe health is one of their personal goals. But I'm sure during different times, you are healthy. During different times, you want to indulge. At different times, you want to go out and have fun. And therefore, I don't think eating healthy is a new thing come out of the pandemic. I think it was always there. And we always cater to that part. I mean, there are lots of facts about McDonald's which say that, we are a healthy opportunity to go, whether it comes to grilled burgers, whether it comes to our steamed egg burgers, or whether it comes to an ice cream cone which only has 90% calories, whether it comes to our dietary fiber which we have added to all our burgers, whether it's the whole wheat breads which are there. So there are various options, and each one has a choice they want to make as what they want to eat. So that's always a trend which is there. And I don't think that is a trend which has got accentuated because of only COVID.
We're almost at time, Smita, but I want to ask you two more questions before I let you go. One is about, the entry to barrier, or the barriers to entry in this industry has always been pretty low. I mean, someone with capital, with an interest can make an entry into this space. Do you think this whole pandemic and the scale of impact that it had on this sector, is that going to act as a deterrent now for new businesses to venture into this area?
See, I always believe that any business can do well if you have a well thought of business plan, if you have a good strategy, and if you have good execution, which is sustainable. I think entrance to this industries were always many and more, and some of them were able to sustain and survive. Some of them were not able to sustain and survive. You've heard stories of brands which were built for 6 months, 1 year, and were had to close shop. So it's not about whether COVID or not COVID. I think your business plan has to be solid. It has to be backed by a strategy, and it has to be executed well, and it has to be sustainable. As long as you have that, getting into the food industry is always very lucrative. As I always say, whether pandemic or not pandemic, everyone has to eat 3 meals a day, and that's not going to change irrespective.
Right. Just one last question to you, Smita. If I'm not wrong, I think you were married at a rather early age, and you started a family at a rather early age, and it was only after that that you got into the business or into the workforce really. And you've I've read in your interviews in the past that how much of a support your family or your husband has been in your entire journey, your professional journey. Can you highlight some of the points about how men today can play a supportive or complementary role in enabling more women to join the workforce? Given that, of course, we see, especially around the lockdown, we've seen that women have been juggling multiple roles at once, even as they're working from home. So what are some of the points that you'd highlight that men can undertake in order to push this further?
That's a tricky question always, but I'll answer it to the best possible way. So yes, I have been very fortunate to have the support of both my family as well as my husband. I think a few things which really worked well, and we are often asked this question as to how, as a couple, we have worked together and sustained together. I think more than support, it is about ensuring that we bring complementary strengths to the business, A. Two, having very clearly demarcated our accountabilities. And three, which is really the most important ingredient in success, is to have respect for each other's decision and respect for each other. I think more than support, I think it's about respect that men have to have for women in the workforce. That they do bring complementary strengths into any business or any company. And it's how you leverage it and how do you respect differences. So yes, women always have to multitask much more at home than what they need to do, what men need to do, and maybe not in today's changing world. But I think it is just about respecting diversity and respecting what women can do differently at the workplace. In fact, for us, it's very clear when you go into restaurants which have a good mix of men and women. It is a much better managed restaurant than if you go into a restaurant which is only men and only women. Net net, I would say both men and women are complementary to each other, and they need to respect each other at the workplace to get the best out of each one of them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Smita, for the really insightful points that you called out today, both in terms of jobs and business in the QSR space. It was great to speak to you.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks
you
a
so
lot,
much.
Smita.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you to all our members who joined in and shared their wonderful questions. Smita will hopefully just join back and answer some of the questions that we could not take during the course of the live. We'll be back soon with yet another episode for Get Hired India. If there are certain topics or questions or specific areas that you're more interested in, please share with us in the comments and we'll try to pick it up for our next episode. Until then, stay safe and thank you so much for joining today.